Shalom. I want to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Racha Kodash, and Chanya Kabad, Gadwala Rakwab, Zakwanyam Nawa, which is double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and Shalom, Babarakim, Labakayim, Shayasharala, and that's peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. And as always, to the confusion of faces, meaning those who look like the other nations, but whose spirits resonate with the truth. And I believe and have faith in Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shai, the only begotten Son. To all of you brothers, no matter how you look, no matter what so-called color of skin you are, if you have the faith in the true doctrine, then I want to say peace and blessings to you all. So this just came out today, July 2nd, and it's entitled The Dystopian Olympics. Rising popularity of microchip implants puts Sweden at the top of the leaderboard. So you can already imagine, and you can see from this title, how the microchip implants are starting to be advertised. All right, and with that being said, this is just another video that I pray is edifying to the elect, just showing that the microchip or the RFID chip is the mark of the beast, 100% without a doubt, talked about in the book of Revelations. And with that being said, just like this article says, rising popularity of microchip implants, I came across this article, and through the spirit, I just wanted to bring more light or popularity to the mark of the beast. So let's keep reading. Let's read. It says, thousands of Swedes, as we already know, have had microchips inserted under the skin of their hands between the thumb and index finger to substitute for credit and other bank cards, rail cards, and other forms of ID. This makes life so much easier for them now that they don't have to reach all the way into their... Now listen to this. Watch how they're advertising the microchips, making it seem as if they bring so much more convenience. Like this RFID chip brings so much more convenience and ease to your life, and it decreases stress. Listen to this. This makes life so much easier for them now that they don't have to reach all the way into their pockets, get their wallets out, select which card they need at the time, depending on where they are, remove the card from the wallet, use the card, insert a possible PIN if they are really unlucky, insert the card back into their wallet, and put their wallet all the way back into their pocket. I mean, as a spiritual man already, you know after reading this, the microchip has to be the mark of the beast. You can see how they're strategically using certain words to make it seem as if this microchip is just solving all of your problems, creating this stress-free life. Just swipe your hand and go. This microchip is the mark of the beast, and it's going to be made mandatory very soon. And I want to get through a good bit of this article, so I'm just going to keep reading and have mild commentary before I jump into the scriptures. It says, it also waives the possibility of losing these cards, as they will no longer need them, and you cannot misplace something that has been inserted under your skin. However, is this a positive trade-off? Swedish culture has been fascinated with technology. Many great technology companies have come out of Sweden in different forms, such as Skype and Spotify, along with more infamous ones like the Pirate Bay and uTorrent. Sweden is also a leading contributor to the transhumanist movement, which is centered around using technology to improve humans' biological bodies. It goes on to read, aside from their technological achievements, Sweden is a country that penalizes its citizens for alleged hate speech, which includes a criticism of Islam. They have set up institutions like Nathats which translates to the Web Hate Investigator. This institution reported 750 last year, of which 77 were convicted of enticement to hate. In other words, a thought crime. All right, let's keep reading. It says, while it is private companies that are facilitating these microchips, we need to remember that the private companies have the same powers of censorship. They are also working with governments to see these people convicted or penalized. Let me read those sentences again. It says, at the top, it says, while it is private companies that are facilitating these microchips, we need to remember that the private companies have the same powers of censorship. So they can make these microchips seem like they're the greatest things in the world, or they can censor other things to make these microchips come alive even more. Censor other information surrounding the microchips or the economy, if you will. It says, they are also working with governments, meaning those private companies, to see these people convicted or penalized. Why? For the purpose of getting them chipped. It says we need to ask ourselves the question, what happens when governments start to crack onto this and use it? It says, what happens when governments start to crack onto this and use it to tighten their control on the average person? Meaning what? These same companies, these private companies that make these microchips, they're in agreement with the government, and then the government starts to crack down on certain individuals that are convicted of crimes, and then do what? They control them by putting microchips in them. They track them. We're going to skip this paragraph because it's not really too relevant. They're giving an example of Visa back in 2009. So it says, while a couple of thousand people having these chips out of the many millions that live in Sweden and the West in general is only a tiny percentage, that's how all these movements start out, as a niche catering to a tiny minority. What we need to think about, though, is that governments and banks have every reason to make this a bigger and more popular thing. Meaning what? Making the microchips a bigger and more popular thing. It says Sweden's tech culture will allow this to grow much larger in Sweden and in other Nordic countries with similar cultural ties. Once enough people who are highly regarded in society, such as actors or businessmen who have extensive media profiles, jump on this and make it a trend as capitalism does, then the majority of people will follow. Meaning what? People are going to actually be looking to get these microchips. They're going to be marketed as if they're the greatest thing in the world very soon. You're going to have your actors, your NBA players, NFL players, all these singers, rappers, dumb, stupid people getting the microchip and then marketing it, getting paid to advertise it as if it's some great thing, even though it's leading to your destruction. And then you're going to have certain people, the 2/3 out of the nation of Israel, that's going to follow. And who was that? The Israelites are you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. 2/3 of you that aren't going to hearken unto the voice of the Lord, unto the prophets, and come back to the faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Most of you are going to take that microchip. And if you're destined to the destruction, and you don't take the microchip, you're going to die of famine, poverty, the sword, gun, something. But that's biblical prophecy. It goes on to read, what happens when banks abolish credit cards and only allow people to make payments if they have the chip inserted? And that's coming. It's in the Bible. What happens when they start making excuses as to why these chips will be better off as being permanent rather than temporary? What happens when they start to influence laws? And then it says 20 years ago, we never would have guessed. Actually, let me read it. 20 years ago, we never would have guessed that people nowadays would be addicted to tiny screens in their hands. And while I personally don't see it as an issue, what needs to be considered is that I grew up in a culture, blah, blah, blah. As the generation under me gets older, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It says an implanted microchip could allow for governments to track you like they can already do in real time on your phones through local location servicing. They will be able to identify you instantly just by scanning the card. Some of you might be thinking that this could be used in a positive way to stop crime, including identity theft. And while that may be true, you will also need to ask the question, should we be giving the government and private corporations that much power? Basically meaning what as a spiritual man? Should we be giving ourselves over to Esau, Edom? Basically, it's coming down to this. Are you going to fear man, or are you going to fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai? That's the real question at the end of the day. When it comes down to taking these microchips, when it comes down to, let me not word it that way, when it comes down to withstanding the temptation of the microchip, because it's truly going to be a perilous time that we're coming into. I mean, once again, we're talking about an economic collapse. We're talking about civil wars and race wars. We're talking about famine, not only of the word, which is most importantly, but also true famine, lack of bread, not being able to eat, all-out anarchy, martial laws coming to America. And that microchip during these times is going to be made mandatory. It's not just going to be pushed as if it's some great thing in the world to make your life easier. The word says, the Bible says that it's going to be made mandatory. And these are the times that we're coming into in which it's going to be looked at as looked at as if it's going to solve all your problems. Oh, get the microchip. You can eat again. You can have a house again. You can have your job and money again. Just get this chip first. But hold on. The question is, do you fear man or do you fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai? Because it's going to be made mandatory. And if you don't get it, there's going to be consequences. Why do you think they're setting up camps all around the world? Do your research. So it goes on to read. Okay, we're almost done. It says, we have seen governments turn against their people in the past, right? One doesn't even have to name examples on this. Instead, let's look at the modern day, like right now. It says South Africa democratically elects their president. The South African government is currently encouraging the hostile takeover of white South African farmlands. They have turned against a large section of their population. This is but one example of many governments, not only democracies, that are persecuting their people currently. And that persecution is coming to America. Once again, martial law. In a post-mandatory microchip implant world, if a government wanted to persecute people, they would know who they are, where they were, exactly, and when they were trying to leave the country. The last sentence says what? Is this the beginning of the mark of the beast? And absolutely it is. It's not just the beginning. It is the mark of the beast. It is the mark of the beast. The microchip is the mark of the beast. Let me jump back to this title. This is the whole point. Rising popularity of microchip implants. And anything that happens over there across seas, it's just a pre-play, if you will. I can't think of a proper word, a proper phrase rather, to what's about to come over here to Babylon the Great, which is America. It's your pre-gaming. That's all it is. All right, so all I want to get actually is Revelation, the 14th chapter. I just want to get the judgment for getting these microchips, for getting the mark of the beast. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 14. I'm going to start reading at... We'll read a verse. No. We'll get right to the point. Revelation 14, verse 8, and it says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen. That's America. Babylon, or America, is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Meaning what? The wine is all of America's philosophies, its doctrines, its ways of living, which are what? Truly adverse to the ways, the life and laws of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Verse 9 says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark. Let's go over that. If any man worship the beast is what? NATO and EU, which is the Roman Empire that came back through the form of NATO and EU. That's the beast. So if any man worship the beast and his image, what is his image? That's his wine, his philosophies, the way that he perceives life, the way that Esau Edom perceives life, and pushed that doctrine amongst the whole world. That's his image. Being down with eating this disgusting food, being down with getting the microchip, being down with Christianity. That's a part of it too. Just naming some things that they come to to the top of my head. It says, and receive his mark. And what is a mark? That's the microchip. So it says, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, that's the microchip. Verse 10, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, meaning his righteous anger. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And that Lamb is Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. That's Yahweh Shai. So meaning what? When you take that microchip, the predestined destruction for you is basically thermonuclear fire. That's the lake of fire that you read about. That's America, Babylon the Great, being burned by nuclear fire, ICBM missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles coming from various nations, such as, just to name a few, Russia, China, and Iran. Three big ones, three big prophetic countries talked about in these holy scriptures. So that's the point right there. You know, these microchips are becoming very popular. They're taking a big hold on the people in Sweden right now, and it's truly going to come over here to America, and it's going to start being pushed on a national level. It's going to start being pushed by actors, businessmen, your favorite singers, your favorite rappers, so on and so forth, to the point where you're going to have people that are truly deceived into getting chipped. But at the end of the day, the scriptures say what? The deceived and the deceiver are mine, meaning Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai has deceived that person at the end of the day. The deceived and the deceiver are his. And that's why I use the word predestined, because if you're predestined to get the microchip, there's nothing you can do about it. That's why we call ourselves truly blessed. We really feel blessed to, know this knowledge, know these prophecies, the dark parables, the sayings, everything in these scriptures. We're blessed. That's why we have to continue to pray, fast, stay humble. And at the end of the day, just pray that you've been predestined to receive salvation and not get that chip, that the Lord strengthens your spirit and your mind right now, so that he can continue to protect you during these perilous times to come. All right, because you don't want what's coming for, the people taking that microchip. It should put fear in you, when you read scriptures like this. It should put fear in your mind when you read prophecies like this. If you call yourself a man of the Lord and you believe in the Bible, these prophecies should put fear in you. So with that being said, I pray that this was edifying to the elect. I want to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Chakodash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us his truth and that rule well. And peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.